I'm not a narcissist or a codependent. There seems to be a belief that one has to be a narcissist, a la Sam Vaknin, or a codependent, a la AJ Mahari, to be in a relationship for any amount of time with somebody who has borderline personality disorder. Now, I have no doubt that many of those relationships do exist, but not mine was not one of those. There are many instances that you can imagine. There could be many instances where uh, somebody, an average person, a neurotypical person, um, can get mixed up with a borderline, and I think that ended up being my case. And anyway, the notion that you know these perfectly neurotypical people out there exist and walk away at the first red flag just seems kind of unnatural to me. I mean, really, like, who are these people with perfect social records, who never experience toxicity ever in relationships? So, to cover codependence first, codependents are often described as being self-sacrificial, people pleasers, fixers, often need others around and have low self-esteem. And none of these really apply to me. I have a reasonably good healthy self-esteem, and and I certainly had no issues being alone, as I was single and not even looking for 5 years before I stumbled upon this relationship. So, one definition of codependence is that it's a person who derives their purpose through relationships with others. Once again, pretty solitary for 5 years before I got mixed up with my next door neighbor through a couple of chance conversations. I mean, I've never even been on a dating app. I certainly wasn't going out and looking for anybody ever. So, those were 5 pretty happy years, and in the last 6 months being no contact, pretty happy since the last time I was around the borderline X. So, about getting into this chance relationship with my neighbor, it was a few conversations that we had just as we were both, coming home, parking our cars, and I thought I had made like a nice friend that was close by, and that I could maybe spend, a day or two a week after work drinking a beer with, and that's all it, started out as. As a matter of fact, a few times into hanging out, she made a move on me a few times, and I turned them down. She wasn't really my type, and I wasn't even thinking about taking anything to the next level, especially with her. But it was just too convenient to keep hanging out. I mean, and eventually, some intimacy took place, and the love and the lust, took over, which can even cause an average, healthy, mentally healthy, heterosexual man to kind of lose it for a little while. I mean, even Sam Vaknin claims that mentally healthy people can become addicted to a borderline, and I'm definitely guilty of that. So, as far as narcissism goes, I was not raised in an environment that would create a narcissist. I mean, you're not talking to my false self right now. The environment I grew up in would not have created a cluster B personality. I mean, my parents were not abusive. There was no substance abuse. There was no excessive coddling or sheltering, and and they were decent human beings, both of my parents, and they were married until all the way until I was in my 20s. So, in terms of narcissists, me being a possible narcissist, I mean, I don't even have a temper. Almost everyone I know says I never exude a temper ever. I don't lose my temper. And what kind of a good narc would I be if I never did that? I don't abuse people, and even according to my, borderline ex, on many occasions she pointed out to me how abnormally normal I was because she had encountered many people with all kinds of cluster B proclivities. So yeah, I don't exploit people. I have a very normal amount of empathy for people, and I've really never been described as arrogant or envious. So there's my I'm not a narcissist or codependent video.